The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Hey, welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. And each week we bring you the goings-on of the towns and villages that we cover. This week, we're going to be starting with Steve. Steve, what's going on in Henrietta?
So by the time people see this, we'll have done the ribbon cutting for the Betty Miller Performing Arts Center in Good Shepherd Hall. So for those unfamiliar, Good Shepherd Hall was a historic church, Good Shepherd Church, that the school district had purchased to acquire the land and the school that was part of that property, but they hadn't no purpose for the church and it would not meet educational requirements. So rather than bulldoze it under, they sold it to the town for $1, and we've been preserving the historic property. So we're turning it into a performing arts center. It will also be essentially rentable like a cabin. So we picture people renting it for, you know, large birthday bashes, bar mitzvahs, weddings, events like that. And town crews have been doing a lot of renovations, making it ADA accessible, bringing it up to modern fire and safety codes, things like that. So very excited about doing the ribbon cutting. It's not quite done, but it's pretty close. And it turned out to be perfect time because the person we're naming it after, Betty Miller, who's been a long time director and proponent of community theater, she's living down in Florida, and this is the perfect weekend for her to come up for this dedication. She was excited because she could get out ahead of the hurricane. So in addition, the work has I shouldn't say the work, let me rephrase that. The foundations have been dug and the stone put in for the new building for the spray park, as well as the sanitary and storm sewers being put in. We should be receiving the diverter valve anytime soon. Once that is in, then the splash part equipment company can start installing the actual water features. And so this will be ready to go for the spring. Again, we'd originally hoped to have it open near the end of summer, but when the first quotes came in over budget, we had to scale down the changing room table. So it is now on budget. So good to see that work progressing. The last Decton panel went up on the town court. Those were coming in from Spain, greatly delayed. Won't go into all the details, although I will mention that they were originally scheduled to come in through the Port of Baltimore, and that was part of the added to the delay as well. So it's good to see those going back up. Town crews will now rock hound and seed the landscaping around the building, so that should be getting buttoned up. But it's been in operation for over a month now, and working well. So the last sprinkler head was installed this past week at the golf course. So that's up and running, and they are now filling in any remaining holes, and we'll be doing grading. They won't actually do seeding until the spring because they fully expect there to be some settling over the winter. So in the spring, they'll do additional topsoil and seeding. And of course, grass grows really fast in the spring, so it'll be ready for when the golf course opens. So we are also exploring the possibility of a new clubhouse. We've put together some designs. I've been talking to a few of the local restaurants who have expressed interest in potentially operating the restaurant portion of the clubhouse. And so we've put together some specs. I'm now going out to a couple companies to get cost estimates. And the plan is we did some digging. We won't be able to do it through a municipal bond because for the tax-free municipal bonds, there can be no more than 25% of the space used by non-governmental entities. So it's pretty much the opposite. 75% is a restaurant and 25% is the golf course pro shop operated by the town. So it'll be a conventional loan, but the goal is that essentially the debt service on that mortgage is we would charge that amount or more for the rent on the hotel, or not hotel, sorry, restaurant. So the big question is going to be, when we run all those calculations, will that be affordable to a restaurateur? If it's not, then we're not going to build a new clubhouse and we'll just have to get by with what we've got, even though it really can't easily support any kind of food service because of the condition that the kitchen currently is in. So as well as the entire building. So one of the good things is we picked a layout where we would be able to build the new clubhouse in parallel to the existing clubhouse. So that would allow us, that resolves a lot of the timing issues. We were afraid that we would have to build this very quickly during, between when the last golfers are out there in the fall and they're back in the spring. Now we'll be able to, we won't have to essentially pay for an expedited pace because we can operate out of the existing clubhouse while the new clubhouse is built. Once the new clubhouse is in, move all the operations over that and then demolish the old clubhouse. So that's going well. And coming up, we have a dedication for groundbreaking for the Educators Grove in Hoskins Park, which is a project being done by or led by a bunch of volunteers in the community. They have formed the Friends of Henrietta Park and Recreation Association, and which is a not-for-profit that's going to raise funds. The Educators Grove is they basically wanted to honor educators who made a big difference in their lives. And so came to us about the location for the park. Hoskins Park works perfect for that because it's this narrow park between Pinnacle and Winton, and it all slopes down towards Winton. So you can't really have kids playing there because any balls, like if they kicked a soccer ball, it would roll down into Winton Road. And there really isn't a lot of place away from the busy streets. So this purpose works great for it. So town crews have already been doing some work on it, and we're going to have the initial path in, but the groundbreaking will be, the group has raised funding for the first piece that was part of the park design. Sarah Hogan from our conservation board, she's a landscape architect, including specializing in parks, and she works for a company called EDR. She volunteered her time to design the park. And so there's I don't know what you want to call it, monument with flagpoles and such, and like a bench that's going to be right at the entrance. So that's what the groundbreaking is going to be for. So the group was able to raise all the funding for that. So very exciting and getting ready to get going.
Thanks, Steve, for telling us what's going on in Henrietta. Okay, now it's over to Mike Falk and the town of Lima. What's going on there, Mike?
Hi, Chris. Thanks for having us again. At the top of our hit parade today, we have construction going on at the town hall for a couple of different projects. The first is the Empire Access Fiber Project. Has been cooking along now pretty steadily for the last couple of weeks. You now are seeing utility trucks near the town hall out and back for the connections to the actual fiber ring. Syracuse Utilities is the one who has won the bid to run the fiber around Lima, at least the village. And so those are the trucks that you'll see. Why is it happening now? So we were scheduled to get all of this done a year from now. However, the village board did apply for a grant a couple of years ago to the Northern Border Regional Commission so that the village would own the fiber infrastructure in the village and lease it out to whomever was going to be doing the fiber service providing. Because grants have deadlines and all of that, it actually changed Livingston County's project and moved us ahead by a year. So I would love to be able to claim credit for that, but I cannot. So if you see John Waddick walking around Lima, you should thank him because he got us bumped up a year, although I'm not sure that was the intention originally, but it is a good sort of unintended consequence. The second thing going on here at the town hall is, of course, the project we have going on with Siemens Corporation, who is our energy services provider. Siemens is going to be updating the town hall on a number of things, electrifying our heating, adding cooling, doing an expansion of the food pantry, adding some handicap bathrooms up on the top floor, and doing some other things for the courthouse and over at the highway garage and over at the library. Sort of the step one is the planning that has to go into effect for the electrical service entrance to the town hall, which is now woefully undersized for what is about to happen. And I have helped to kick off those meetings. And so in October, we'll be meeting with National Grid and coming up with a plan. And hopefully by the end of November, we would have the new larger entrance put to the town hall so that things can get started. On the Livingston County side, Livingston County has an environmental management council, and they work on all sorts of things countywide that have to do with the environment, environmental education, sciences, technology, action, agriculture, and other general interests that have to do with the environment. Of course, they could use a couple more members. If you are interested in learning about the Environmental Management Council for Livingston County, please get a hold of me here at the town hall, 582-1130, so that we can talk. And we'll see over the next 6 weeks or so, the nominations will go forward to the chairman of the board to approve. And then hopefully we'll have a fully staffed council for next year's activities. And that's all I've got, Chris.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Going on there, maybe a little bit of Mendon, whatever you got. Give us a shout.
Whatever we got, we'll get it going. It's great to see everybody today. So starting out with the village of Honeoye Falls, first and foremost, I need to bring up, and it's with mixed emotions, but it's important for our village. After 35 years with the village of Honeoye Falls, our village administrator, Brian Anderson, has retired. Brian's last day, as we're recording this, Brian's last day was yesterday in the office. He has been a wonderful ambassador for the village and our community overall. Just a top-notch person, just a person that if you know him, you want to know him. He's just a fantastic guy, and he's going to be sorely missed. But he began his employment with the village highway and DPW department, focusing most of his efforts on the wastewater treatment plant. Brian learned and worked at about every job in these departments before being promoted to the village administrator position, and he served the past 9+ years as administrator. We appreciate his dedication to the community overall, and as I said, he's going to be sorely missed. So, but we wish Brian all the very best. Next weekend, Friday through Sunday, October 4th through 6th, is traditionally the fall weekend for the HFL school district. But this also involves obviously the whole community. Remember, there will be many people in the village and throughout the community that are not normally here on a weekend basis. A lot of family members come home to visit on this weekend. A lot of HFL alumni. There's going to be many sports games going on from Friday right through the weekend. The Hall of Fame inductions, the huge fall weekend parade on Saturday. It's important to remember traffic is going to be impacted throughout the village and even into the town, so plan accordingly. But it's a great weekend, and for some reason, we generally, not always, but we usually have some pretty nice weather on fall weekend. So hopefully next weekend will be the same. On Saturday, October 12th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Harry Allen Park, the Girl Scouts of Western New York, and that includes our local Girl Scout organizations, will host their annual Pumpkin Festival. This has become one of our largest and most sought after one-day village events. It's a fantastic opportunity to bring your family out. Let the kids show off their costumes. I think they're going to try to have a little costume parade. See all the decorated pumpkins, which all can participate in. If you want to get a pumpkin, decorate it, have it all decorated up and cut up and carved, you can bring that to Harry Allen Park, and they put the pumpkins all around the walkways and put little candles in them and light them up, and it's just a wonderful event. So, enjoy, the kids come out, they enjoy the booths that are there. The Masons organization will be providing food as usual. It's just a fun event. And again, it's from 6 to 8 p.m. The Historical Society will open up the museum so people can use their bathrooms if needed, but also to take a look at some of the incredible things that we have in the museum, which the town and village support. They've done a lot of work on the museum, so it's really worth seeing that as well. Tia Coffee. We've talked about Tia Coffee, the new coffee roaster that was coming to the village. They have finally received a good portion of their equipment. It is set up, and I've been told that they've actually roasted their first couple of small batches. So we're going to be getting some samples of that. We're going to be passing those around the community. We've also talked about a possible cafe and or restaurant going in there. That's not happening just yet. They're working on getting their business up and running as far as the roasters go. But that is started, and we should be hearing more about that in the upcoming weeks. And moving to the county. Within the county, there's a lot of projects and programs continuing. There's a lot of things going on over the next couple months with the veterans programs. I strongly encourage everyone to look at their website or go to their websites to look at opportunities to attend events and support the Veterans Outreach Center, just because they have a lot of great programs to attend, not only to support the vets, but they're fun programs. So www.veteransoutreachcenter.org. Go to their websites, look for some of their events, but they're great events to attend. I also want to acknowledge and mention the passing of Mr. William Bill Eudicious of Rush. Bill is a veteran of the Air Force. He served in the Korean War. He was employed by Kodak. Bill also served as Rush Town Supervisor for 12 years and was very, very well respected throughout the county of Monroe. I'm sure Supervisor Moffett, along with myself in my mayor's capacity, talked with Bill at different times, but he was just very well known and very well respected. So that's a big loss, not only for Rush, but for the county of Monroe overall. Also, the county of Monroe in 2023 agreed to initiate a new sidewalk program to help support and aid our towns and villages that have county roads within their communities. This financial support to create new sidewalks within the communities, this is only for support in areas where there are county roads. So I know for a matter of fact, both the towns of Pittsford and Mendon, are now slated to be awarded some financial support. And what we're doing is we're taking county roads without sidewalks, tying them into other town or village roads. And the county is paying 50% of the funding of the projects. So this is going to be really, really beneficial to our communities. This program was initiated by request from former legislator Sean Delahanty for a project in Fairport and Perrington, and it was supported by the Republican caucus, but then it gained universal legislative support and support from the county executive and the administration, and it was truly an example of great bipartisan efforts, which we're very proud of. So we've set aside $10 million in the county budget. Through the projects that are approved right now, approximately 40% of those funds are going out to towns and villages throughout the county right now. We expect this program to continue over the next couple of years, and there are plans, or it is expected, that the legislature will also refund or reallocate funding in future budgets to keep this project going. So it's really in its first stage or first year, but we already have at least 5 or 6 towns that are taking active participation, and I'm very happy that Mendon and Pittsford are getting some of those funds. So this is going to be really a nice program for the county and our municipality. So Chris, I appreciate the opportunity. It's always great to see everybody. Have a great weekend coming up.
Thanks, Rick. Over to John. John, what's going on in Mendon?
Well, I'm going to piggyback on a couple of things that Mayor Milne mentioned. First of all, I want to thank Mayor Milne for sponsoring our request to the county for the grant for the sidewalk. Now, this sidewalk, as he mentioned, is on a county road, and Miles Square Road is not all county road, but this would go from 251, as I like to call it, the Mendon-Victor Road, not the Victor Mendon Road, to the linear trail. And then, of course, we plan on going from the hamlet east on 251 to link that up. And of course, going all the way down Miles Square Road eventually. So this was very important to us, and I want to thank Mayor Milne. And I also want to recognize our town board member, who also serves as deputy supervisor, Brent Rosick. He was instrumental in acquiring this grant. While we're on the subject of the village of Honeoye Falls, Brian Anderson, the village administrator, a friend of mine, I consider him until yesterday when he retired, a colleague, terrific guy, great to work with, definitely helped the relationship between the village and the town throughout the years of his service. And I really appreciate it. I played softball on the same team as Brian for a number of years, got to know him, and I'm sure the village will miss him. I'm sure they'll be fine, but we really appreciate his service to the entire community. Let's see. The roundabout up on Clover Street, as most of you have noticed, probably if you've been through there, the state came through there and did some work. We're thanks to Mayor Milne, and we have been leaning on the state a little bit as well. We're hoping to take over the maintenance of that roundabout, and I know I've received a lot of complaints as the mayor county legislator has, and we're looking forward to really turning that into a nice welcome to both the town and the village. Recycle event. I've been beating that drum for a while, but it's October 19th at the community center. Been encouraging everybody to get their things together. Again, rabies clinic, paper shredding, and it's done on site, electronics recycling, and I think there's a fourth thing, but it's not coming to me. Let's see. Spray Park is going to be shut down at the end of September. Had a great year with the Spray Park. Everything worked well. We didn't have to shut it down like we did last year for some problems, but and we had a great September again, just like last year. So we kept it open the whole month. The budget, Mendon Town budget for 2025, that is in the process of being presented to the town board at the town board meeting on September 30th. At that point, it's called the tentative budget, goes to the town board members. And at that point, our next meeting is on October 15th. The town board, with a minimum of 3 of the 5 people, can make any changes, adopt it as preliminary, and schedule a public hearing. At that point, the public can come in and say, we like it, we don't like it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And at that point, it would go for a vote of the town board to adopt the final budget. I will tell you that the tax rate is the same, 0%, both for town outside the village and village residents. That is the town tax rate. Let's see. Mendon Youth Center is opening, coincidentally, the same day the spray park's closing, September 30th. Time to move indoors. Monday through Thursday, 2 to 6, it is open for middle school age children. There is no residency requirement. There is not a requirement that you are in the HFL school district. It is just for that age group, and it's a place where they can go. Ping pong tables, pool table, air hockey, all that kind of fun stuff. Hopefully our middle school age children take advantage of it. Lastly, fall weekend, it's a great event for the HFL school. Certainly want to encourage folks to come out, as most of the town of Mendon is in the HFL school district. There's a portion that's in Pittsford, but a lot of it is. And I also want to remind everybody, the school sent out something regarding our Hall of Fame members. I personally nominated one of those individuals, so I encourage everyone to read that. I also want to encourage everybody to think about nominating someone who is an HFL graduate for the Hall of Fame in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And thank you, Rick. Anything else, Rick, that you'd like to add?
Actually, if I could, Chris, just real quick, and it's really for those who are watching this presentation on Sunday, but it just came to my mind on the 30th, Monday the 30th, as a county legislator, I will be hosting my office hours. We do those every couple of months. I've done one at the Mendon Public Library. I've been in Parents, and I'm actually going to be hosting my office hour in the town of Rush at the William Udicious Pavilion on Monday the 30th, beginning at around 5:30 p.m. And it's usually an hour or two, depending on if anyone shows up. But it's really for local residents, but anyone can attend. But it's really for local residents to come in and just talk one-on-one or in a small group about concerns they may have that are county related, issues they may have that may be locally related that I can relay to the supervisor or the mayor or whatever. But that will be Monday the 30th, beginning at about 5:30 at the William Udicious Pavilion in Rush. So I just wanted to mention that.
All right. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching this. Remember, this airs every Sunday at 1 p.m. Like our Facebook page or subscribe to our YouTube channel, and those platforms will notify you when the program begins to air. That's all for this week. Bye-bye for now.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.